All right, hopping right in, guys. So yesterday, the entire outlook was coming up to the no tag GP in the pink. So we made our video and we were watching for those longs, and our target was hopefully the 100. We came up, nailed that, and then waited for this to until it moved back up. Now, we said even on stream yesterday, it would be really cool to see a chop into the FOMC, right? So if we did come up, we hit our targets at the 100 live tag, came down, did exactly that, because then we had an opportunity for the algos to drag us to the target we wanted as the pink GP. Now, we didn't quite get there on SPY. Qs did the front run here, and we had a couple things go on this morning, and as we planned for FOMC, this is what I'll be looking for. So we did have a cluster liquidity push right out of the course here. Again, this is yesterday's high, is always auto-coded for us. And it was price actioning way up here near 608, hitting target GP pink, okay? No reason for a gap up. So why is price action over yesterday's highs? It shouldn't be. So it plummeted right into yesterday's highs. We got a liquidity event. We identified it straight out of the course. We hit the higher low. We shorted this right here as we posted on X into the Discord and took her down to the 1618, resulting in our one and done trade for most of the fundeds. And we're nice and green. Now, we zoom out here a little bit after hitting that top target here. Notice we came inside the range. Perfect doji here, right? High, doji, low. Now we are under, all the way back down. What are we supposed to do with that, huh? Well, this is what I'll be looking for. Now, FOMC, we still have the same exact levels, but pre-FOMC is generally some crappy trading. And we still have only two things to look forward to, right? If FOMC wants to run this up, the pink fib for a live tag is still something we need to see, right? This was our target called on SPY and QQQ coming up to the no tag GP above us on 311. That's what our long prep was. And overnight into the pre, we did hit that. Now, if we stay above that 100 EMA daily, I would assume we still have a shot to at least hit a live tag of that. Now, that might have to be now after FOMC, because we are getting lots of little interesting news pieces here coming out. Rate cuts, Iran news, planning to attack the energy infrastructure. If you haven't seen a lot of the news on energy infrastructure, electricity utilization from AI data centers, so on and so forth, is up immensely, probably in everybody's state, even my small one. And they plan to increase it billions and billions more. So nothing good there. And Iran can attack that. So we're going to see if that big catalyst that caused a little knee jerk in the market holds true and we stick to the continued downside. Now we have a couple things to worry about here on the Qs. Okay. So the QQQ, we always like to put our gold levels, yesterday's high low, and those fibbies, right? You can see she topped out on yesterday's action. Very, very, very close, right? Now she's at the bottom of the absorption zone. Now, does this news suggest a gap and go to the downside? I'm not sure. I'm going to let the action go out. But your best case scenario is to probably watch that 600.43 again, 127, back up to yesterday's lows, and then let it identify direction from there. So up from here to yesterday's lows is what I would be watching. Now, we had a couple imbalances overnight here that we talked about in Discord briefly as well. The 1 minute imbalances were multiples. And again, we've been teaching these for a very long time. These are volume imbalances. You see our indicator picking up 2 volume imbalances right there as she's hovering 25,200, breaks all the moving average ranges, back tests the 200, 100, and wash to target 1, wash to target 2, and big continuation with the news scare, right? Now, if you look down here, there is some triples. There's some liquidity that we teach in the course, right? A lot of these zones right here. And just for the sake of time and visuals and not giving away too much on the tubes here, we're just going to chart those out and show you where action could potentially go. And this was our yesterday's here. Now, that zone right there on that low side, we could easily smack that because liquidity is resting. Now, notice we have a couple brokens on the way back down. We're not going to worry about those too much until we get down to here, okay? So right now, the opening magnets are going to be very, very, very tightly watched and discussed by us for our live open session here on stream. And this is what we're going to be watching. Now, we said earlier today, we know the VIX's personality very well. We know it does not like daily gap downs. We've been saying that forever, teaching it for years. So it started down here at 2150. Now, our target was 20, right? We didn't catch that. We caught a nice gap down and we said, that's an easy short. VIX has to come back up. And we mentioned the 200 SMA not being tapped for a few days here. So we wanted to see the VIX push into the 200, short the market. That's where we got that triple down call from as posted. Now, it went far beyond that, obviously, right? And now we got to start looking to our left, like we always do. We look for imbalances, right? So yesterday down, hit the 100 EMA, and today gap down. Now it fired back towards the two targets we talked about yesterday if it were to reverse. These two gaps right here, we're sitting in that right now. So we are looking at the volatility index to calm down near 2350 momentarily for a little bit. And then we'll look for that pop to yesterday's lows on QQQ and SPY that we had just chatted about. Now, the problem with that is if you look to the left, we have another gap right here, another gap from the open here, here. There are multiple imbalances for this thing to full reverse. Now, we are still up in the 20s on VIX, so it does have chance to, reiterate that turnaround. And as we talked about, we had two different targets for the volatility index. Even yesterday, we said if it stayed under 25, we would target 20, which even this morning we almost got there within a dollar. Now it's popping back a little bit, following lots of red days. Our long target was here, just sub 30, into this GP of 3.9. Okay, so we still have that open. So if this starts a rotation, this is all new news, Iran conflict stuff, Qatar minister, a lot of different things that are kind of popping up because Iran's, no negotiations for Iran, so on and so forth. And that's obviously, it makes the market tough. We have to be aware that live news coming out changes directionary bias by the minute. Now, you see, we do have that 50 RSI support daily chart, VIX, and we've been selling for quite a few days coming into that. So bouncing right here wouldn't really seem out of the question. Now, holding that bounce and killing it, I don't know. But we talked about this yesterday, especially on stream 2. We did have two targets above us that can be a de facto, right? These are daily 50s that are left open, and with any luck, these will match up with the 5-minute gaps we just talked about for volume imbalances here on the VIX. Let's see here. Well, no direct inline for the first one. We have the overnight gap here, but that kind of signals that we should chill out near 2350 here, come down, and then if we decide, we do have a gap down here too in the pre, watch out, to hold up on that 10 and hold the trend and do a temporary reversal, we could see as high as 2481 for that daily 50. That's just a sweep of yesterday's highs. And then if it does decide to die off, we know the daily chart VIX, we hit the 50 RSI in the daily we just watched, temporary popped it to 2450 to 25, and then it can roll to 20. Now that's still a possibility. Now we need confirmation again because the chart with new news and new catalysts that are always popping up gets a little wiggly. So this is what I'm going to use, the ETFs for sure. Okay, so back to QQQ and SPY. This is the trade plan. Same pink fib, and we did hit target there pre, which you still need a live tag there, so don't take that as guaranteed anything. We have the 127 and 1618 here. And one thing that should stick out to you right away is our liquidity event with our special numerology developed extension does overlap our 1618. So these are going to be bounce point of interest here. Okay. We also have psychological 600. We're floating around right now, which might hold again. So I will look for temporary longs even here, like right here, where we don't go too much farther than 20 points here. 60-ish to the upside. Worst case scenario, we come down here to the 666 numerology base bounce here, and then we will come back up past yesterday's lows a little bit. You will target right here. Now let's go look at these two algos in pre-market and decide whether these will be helpful to our daily notion for that Fibonacci setup. We have an algo right here. This was after the liquidity event. Not so helpful. We have a 1618 right at 601. Meh, if it recovers, squeeze potential. And then we did have one earlier as well. See if there's any help from this guy. Because if these don't line up with multiples, line up crossovers, we tend not to care about them as much, right? Singles don't matter nearly as much as tons of overlaps. Now I can't tell where we're at, so we got to start color coding. All right. Okay, so that algo is developed in the green. So this algo high-low I'm looking at, you can see this secondary algo in pre was developed right at absorption zone and kicked down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the second algo, trend out there, box the thing out with the GP. I'm going to remove this guy here, not the secondary one. There we go. And then I'm going to keep this liquidity on. This is the liquidity triple short called from Discord. So this was that pop short. Whoops. This was that pop short and down opportunity we had seen play out. And I want to see where that 666 plays, because if we do happen to wash out down here at that open, this would be a really good attempted buy, because we'll hold the golden 1618 from yesterday after a pre-market low sweep. So we got pre-market low, we break that, we sweep into 599.37, and there's a chance we come back to here, which is closing the gap. And we have a couple different reasons to come back to this channel. Right here, channel of the liquidity, 36142, right out of the course, same thing, 666 to there, that's all course material, you know it. Now, the golden Fibonacci overlapping 127, that's absorption zone. So again, 600 and a half, the pink and 127 could also shoot us up right here and do a little bit of a move just for a temporary long out of the gate. It'll be a decent risk to reward depending on what the VIX looks like closer to the open. Now, as far as the SPY goes, trade plan for that doesn't look too much different. And then again, remember, we did look for that pink GP. QQQ got it. We got nowhere near it on SPY, okay? So I was initially looking for a SPY to come back down to its golden pocket and have an attempted support. But now that we're clearly not having that kind of day with new news and new stuff kind of popping out, we're just going to have to reassess and swap bias like always and use some fibbies. So golden high-low, golden rule. We are shy scammed here, so we did the big wash. We didn't quite hit the 1618. So if that QQQ downside we just talked about works with SPY, it's 66.77 potential bouncing, okay? Now, we have some broken triples here. I'm not too interested in the 5. Let's go check the 1. See if there's anything interesting here. Couple breaks, couple FVGs. Same triple that we said to play short from this lower high. Nothing really. So nothing, no quads. I'll go check the futures for our group at the open here. We'll discuss that after video here. We'll go see if we got clusters on our indicator. Yeah, it looks like SPY's gonna be the same. We have an opportunity to see the same watch. So if we were happening to sweep pre-market lows into that 1618, I will look to return to yesterday's lows. If it does not, this might be a full rotation. And back to the daily chart just one more time, we had 2 different things to watch for, right? Now the 10 SMA is catching up for that rejection point that hit yesterday. And we were looking for initially the 200 SMA daily to come in and hit, right? So QQQ gap was that target long we hit yesterday. SPY yesterday as well, pushing into that gap. Now we could reject the daily gap and the 10 SMA, start heading back down. We have 2 points of interest to the downside that are going to be very, very key for us for over-under levels. These 50s right here. And of course, the same shit we've been teaching for 10 years, it hits the doji time. So with that in mind, we'll be looking at those dailies right there. So live tags appropriate for either one. If it comes down, you have support at a 50 with the 1618. She starts to hold that. We pop up, we get 127 at least. Maybe even the second one, again, looking for yesterday's lows, very similar. So I'll be looking for something to hold around here and plausibly a confirmation in support here where the VIX dies off, maybe chases the pre-market gap, something sets up like that. In the morning, I'll look for this trade right here if we get it. And that'll be, has to be a sweep, nice recovery, push back up, and I'll be looking for the 127. So if we do get in around here on the confirmation, up to zone doji is 17 points on ES. So right now, that is the only out of the gate trade that I'm generally interested in. We have the oscillation indicators telling us that we can come back up to the 50s. Right now, you see the 5-minute RSI is very cold. I will generally look for that to come back up and return to the 50. The MACD, don't really know what to do with that right now. It's a little laggy. We need that to swap back, create a higher low like this, and start returning to the 0 line before I'm interested in this long as well. But the volatility index will be the key open. We get a couple different deciphers. If this is a full turnaround, we will be able to identify that today at the volatility index. And as we mentioned yesterday, don't Pretend like we didn't say this 400 times. Coming into FOMC, a lot of people purchase VIX insurance, so we can see the VIX generally spike into FOMC, right? We blabbed that a whole bunch yesterday. Did not expect this style of move this far down. TOS just likes to shut off whenever it wants. Let's see. TOS is full crash. Okay, she's gone. Well, that'll be the end of the YouTube video. TOS has decided to check out. So look for those longs on those sweeps, and the volatility index confirmation is going to be up at 25 again.